Hi peaches, it's Shaaba, welcome back to my channel and thank you for clicking on another video. Alright, I have an apology to make. It is Thursday that you're watching this. It's a different day for this week's Am I the Arsehole? I know we're normally on a Monday. I'm sorry for messing up your schedules, but I'm also kind of not sorry because the reason I had to delay today's video is because on Monday I made a little bit of a special announcement. It's like the biggest, most scariest thing I think I've announced since I've been on the internet, and that is that I have an EP coming out. It's called Inside Voices, and my first single, my debut single, god that sounds so silly! So silly, Shaaba! My first single, I Don't Like Me Either, is coming out on the 10th of November and is available for you to pre-save right now. So if you have Spotify and you fancy listening to a bedroom poppy type song about overthinking and having low self-esteem, but you know, with like happy chill vibes, maybe you would want to take a look at that link downstairs in the description box. You can get your little fuzzy peaches down there to click the link. It's totally free and it would really support me, and yeah, I'd be really grateful. Thank you. With that slightly out of the way, let's do something that's not so scary to me. Let us go fishing for some a-holes. It is that weekly segment, not on Monday this time, I'm sorry, / not sorry. Please don't hate me, and please maybe consider listening to my song. Oh my god. Where we take a look at the subreddit, Am I the A-hole? Why? Because it's a little bit of juicy drama. It's a little bit of fun. Also can hopefully help a couple of people out, either people posting or people in similar positions, and it also helps us expand our own mindsets along the way, which we love. We've done a lot of growing. We've done a lot of learning. We've done a lot of unlearning here on the Shaaba channel. So without further ado, should we dive right in and see what a-holes we have in store today? Am I the arsehole for refusing to send my roommate money for furniture that was gifted to us? Oh, we got a little bit of a money one here. I see you. I hear you. War, religion, money. The three things that people fight over the most. Money, the one thing that breaks up close relationships the most, which is really sad. And I get why. It's a really stressful thing when you don't have it. It's a really stressful thing to have to think about and deal about when things like interest rates rise and you're like, what the frick is a savings account or a mortgage or a budget or planning? And then when you have a little ADHD brain like mine, where numbers in particular just do not stick. Words I am all over. Numbers are a different kind of beast. I'm digressing a lot. Let's see. I am a college student. Okay, so money's even more of a stress because it's all new and you're like, sorry, I need to pay for a washing machine. What do you mean milk costs this much? It would just be in my family fridge. I'm a college student who's living in an off-campus apartment with two girls that I met on a Facebook group for roommates. Cute. At first I thought everything was going great and that we matched well. A couple of days after moving in, one of the roommates told us that her parents was going to gift us their old furniture because they were planning on buying all new anyway. Okay, so the parents were going to buy all new. So like, here, just take the old stuff. That's very kind. From the title I can see where this is going and I'm like, I don't understand why you need to pay if they're offering to gift it, but let's see. I was excited because our apartment didn't come furnished and my roommates had already talked about going to buy furniture and we'd all just split the cost. I knew I wouldn't be able to afford that at the beginning of the school year, and I'm also more careful with the money that I make. My parents don't help me with rent because I chose to move out instead of living at home, and I also have a job that I go to almost every day after classes. So OP is hustling. OP is working hard. I see you. My roommates, however, don't have to worry about money as much because they both work, but their parents cover rent for them, so they have extra to spend. Okay. Anyway, the same day her parents came and moved all the furniture in, I got a Venmo request for $75. Oh, I wonder what furniture it is, because I'm not being funny, $75 is not a lot of money for like furniture. I see the blindsidedness, mostly in the principle of like, unless you said it beforehand, that like, if we get this, you're going to pay this amount, is that okay? And you explicitly say yes, like, don't be asking people for money that you haven't asked them before, and then do the thing, and then ask them afterwards. The world just doesn't work like that. But as a separate point, $75 for furniture is a really good price. I asked my roommate about it because I thought that her parents were just being nice by giving us their old furniture. She actually said that her family felt a lot of pressure to furnish the apartment by themselves and thought the whole situation was unfair because I haven't contributed anything at all to the apartment. I mean, if people are feeling pressured, that's on them. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a you problem. It just doesn't click to me, the idea that like, oh, I felt pressured to do something, so I then did it off my own back without your permission. And now I think it's only fair that you pay me because you've also not done the thing that I felt personally pressured to do. Let's read on, but I feel like maybe applying that principle to different scenarios might be a good way to test how reasonable this request is. OP says that this isn't true because I previously sent her money to split the cost of cleaning supplies, and I'd also bought a Brita pitcher for everyone to use. The word pitcher is making me think this is to do with water, so I'm assuming it's some kind of water filter thing. She said that she's being generous with the Venmo account because her parents' furniture was worth thousands, there we go, and the other roommate had already contributed by ordering a $75 rug, so this was the only fair solution. So where does the number 75 come from? If the roommate brought a rug and you brought a Brita picture, and friend here who's now requesting $75 off you brought thousands and thousands of pounds worth of furniture. How does that make sense? You're all contributing different amounts. What makes you think, oh, well, yeah, so now you need to contribute what the other person brought in the form of a rug? Confusion? Just me? We got into an argument and I refused to send her money because she never spent any to begin with. It was a gift from her parents. Ooh. Okay, let's unpack that a little bit. Sorry, I feel like I'm being really bitty with this story. Normally we read through them and then we talk about it at the end. The reason I'm wanting to unpack it is because this gift from the parents thing, I feel like it's really contextually dependent. I'll give you an example. I know these people who went on holiday. It was two friends and one of them knew a car person that basically meant they could rent a car on that holiday for free. So that's what that person did. They organised the car hire. It was very kind and it was a really big favour because otherwise they both would have been spending a lot of money on the car. Now the other friend who had nothing to do with the car but is now using the car was like, oh, I'll offer to pay for the petrol for the whole trip because it's only fair because you got the car. So friend one got the car through another friend. Friend two was like, oh, because you got the car, let me pay for the petrol for the whole trip because if it wasn't for you being able to get the car, we'd have to be spending a lot more on the car. So I'll just cover the petrol. And friend one was like, no, I didn't spend any money on the car. We are both going to be using it and we are both going to be out expensing ourselves, right, with the petrol. And so we'll split the cost of the petrol because I'm not out of any money with the car. And I thought that was really sweet. See, I would be the same as friend one in that situation. It's of no detriment to me to have asked this friend who was going to give me a car anyway. So, you know, like, we're both at this amount, let's both pay. But then there's another example. We don't ask the questions, we don't ask why. For some reason, I had an extra mattress and it was in storage and I had no use for this mattress. It was the wrong side. I was silly, but it's fine. I'll pay for the mattress. I can't use the mattress. And my friend was in need of a mattress and I was like, hey, well, I have a mattress that's like sitting gathering dust and you need a mattress. So like, you want to take the mattress? And they were like, yeah. And they offered to compensate me in some way for the mattress. It wasn't money in the end. It was time doing a really kind thing. And I was like, thank you so much. And I accepted it without qualm because the mattress is something that I had paid for, right? Like I was down and out of money. It wasn't just like, oh, well, it's there or it's not there. Like it's there and there was a detriment. And so I kindly accept retribution. Is that the word? Retribution? Am I using that red white? That word, right? I can't talk today. For said mattress. So I feel like this scenario to me is the first one. It's the car. Like, friend, roommate, you did not inconvenience yourself in any way. This furniture was going to go somewhere. It was going to go to a charity. Unless your parents were going to sell it, which it doesn't sound like that's the case. They said, I'm going to gift it to you because we're buying you anyway. Like, it is of no detriment to you to bring that in. So why are you charging other people? That's my thought process. The next morning, I got a text saying that there was going to be a roommate meeting after I got back from work to settle things. When I walked into the apartment, I noticed that there was a massive TV set up, even though we all previously agreed to not get one for this semester because of our busy schedules. The girl who practically proclaimed herself head roommate told me, check your Venmo, and there was a new request, for $166, which now included the TV. So there's a $75 request and now a $166 request, and you didn't ask for any of this. You are not the asshole, my love. Oh my lord, hang on. I started crying and I told them that I couldn't handle all these additional expenses right now because I pay my own rent and everything left over I really need to save. They said I was probably lying about paying my own rent. Blood is boiling. And I was trying to make them feel bad by pretending to be poor. They said that if I don't send the money by next week, I shouldn't be allowed to hang out in the common area because it's unfair that I didn't contribute to make it a home like they did. Am I really as selfish as they're making me out to be? No, you're not selfish, and no, you are not the asshole. Okay, those last paragraphs were a plot twist. This journey took a different turn and I am mad about it. Be quiet, phone. This went so far beyond the furniture set. I think it's very clear that you're not the asshole in this situation. You can't go and buy things without telling people and then be like, hey, pay me back. Like, imagine if I came to your house and I was like, knock, 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 and you opened the door and I was like, just wanted to let you know I just cleaned your car and now you owe me £40. Like, no! Who does that? Tell them to leave your third of the common room empty. I like this idea. Get a nice seat from a thrift store, a nice lamp, and settle yourself there to relax, not the asshole. They cannot decide how you decide to spend your money. And it really pisses me off when people are like, oh, I understand your financial situation better than you. Don't even go there. It's either coming from privilege or it's coming from ignorance, and either way, it is not welcome here. Shoo shoo. Not the asshole. An even split of free is nothing. Exactly. Sorry, how much did you pay for it, roommate? 0? Okay, yeah, sure. Let's divide that by 3. That said, you are welcome to play her at her own game. Go on your Tan's free cycle now and get a free piece of furniture. Evaluate it to be worth $500 and then bill her $100 for the share. If she objects to that, well then she'll comprehend why you aren't paying her for that free furniture. I tell you, I normally don't like the contributions that I see on the forum. They can be shady at best sometimes and super unhealthy at worst, but these are really clever suggestions. I love the idea of that. This is the taste of your own medicine, right? Like, I got something for free, doesn't matter where it came from, this is how much it's worth, so now you owe me money. Not the arsehole. If you didn't agree to pay beforehand, then you shouldn't be making requests, and you're under no obligation to pay. People can't simply decide after the fact that you're going to pay them money. Hold your ground, just say no. They're going to have to learn to communicate and negotiate. Absolutely that. And if it ends up getting really toxic, find new roommates, which I know is easier said than done. It's a huge stress, especially when you're already in college. Like, nobody needs that. But you know what? Nobody needs this stress either. I'm sorry you're going through that, OP, but hey, I do think that these are two fantastic examples, and I'm sure that you'll either be able to make them see sense by communicating and putting the shoe on the other foot sort of thing, or just by not going to the common room, because why would you want to hang out with people who are just so toxic in their mentality? Oh! Should we take a look at another one? I feel like that was a medium level spice, but it was like extra hot on the anger level. You just don't treat people like that. Am I the arsehole for posting a recent picture of myself in a Facebook post to correct my identity? Sounds very vague. Sounds like someone's from like MI6 or MI5. And they're like, hello, I'm actually a spy. I'm sure that's not what it is, but that's the first thing that came to my mind. So, I'm a woman, 33 years old, and today is my birthday. Happy birthday, my love. I received wonderful birthday wishes all day from friends and family members. I decided to browse social media and noticed that my aunt posted a very old picture of me wishing me a happy birthday. Oh, for context, I'm MTF trans. Sorry, I was surprised because I don't seem to come across a lot of T+ things on this forum. For those of you who might not know, MTF stands for male to female, and so OP is explaining here that they are indeed a trans woman. She posted a picture of me oh gosh, it just clicked what's happened. This is not okay. Aunt posted a picture of me prior to transitioning, which made me post a picture of my current self in the comment section, thanking her, but also reminding her that I'm not that person and I do not look like the person in that photo. Wow. Okay. Well, firstly, props to you, because that was a really sensible way to deal with such a scenario. I can't understand, but I can only imagine how triggering and dysphoric it might be to some people to see flashbacks like that. Not only flashbacks like that, but to see somebody else post it in the now and be like, happy birthday to you. It's a form of misgendering. It's a form of not acknowledging your identity that you've gone on this massive journey for and that you deserve to be acknowledged by your loved ones. And I'm also thinking that by the term reminding being used here, that means that the aunt absolutely knew that OP is trans, because if she didn't know, I could totally understand why, you know, someone might post a photo and then you might be like, awkward moment, just letting you know though that I've come out, I'm trans, and this sort of thing is not okay. Like, you wouldn't use someone's birth name, don't use someone's photo, and they'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know, delete the photo. But, you know, reminding, aunt clearly knew, why are you posting an old photo? Not even an hour later, I get a call from my family telling me that I'm the asshole for doing this and making my aunt look bad. Do you know what this sounds like to me? This sounds like aunt is feeling really guilty about herself and it's like, pooh, I did something wrong, who can I blame? And that is never an okay way to deal with things. It's not your fault that you tried to defend yourself. She posted something publicly, you responded publicly, and based on this post, quite politely, right? Being like, hi, I'm not this person, I don't look like this person anymore. And thank you for the birthday wishes, just don't post something like this again, which is perfectly within your right to do. Sure, what's an alternative? You could have DM'd her separately with the exact same message, and maybe she would have seen that and then be like, oh, let me take that down. Maybe then aunt would not have been so upset. However, you do not owe somebody the protection of their feelings, and also it can be really difficult to think in the moment when something has happened to you that can be triggering, because matters of identity like this often are, and especially public. When we're in those mindsets, it's not very easy to think always about other people's feelings. In those moments, we're not always in the mindset to think rationally and like, hey, so how can I minimize the hurt for this other person when I'm feeling so hurt myself? So I guess what I'm trying to say is, whilst an alternative was there where you could have done it privately, one, you don't have to, and two, in the moment you might not be able to see that as an alternative. And my answer, my response, if I was aunt in this scenario, would not be like, oh, how dare you embarrass me, you are in the wrong. It would be, oh my gosh, I'm really embarrassed of myself. I'm sorry to have done that. I didn't mean to hurt you. Let's minimize the effect of the hurt. Get rid of the post a new one. Say happy birthday with your little selfies now and, you know, looking all happy. Like, it didn't need to be more negativity to OP. Having said that, it doesn't sound here like aunt specifically has reached out. It's the family saying, oh, you're the arsehole for making them look bad. So I just want to point out that I do not think that the aunt is an arsehole. People make mistakes, and that is okay. We cannot, as people belonging to any marginalized or protected characteristic. Think that people are arseholes because they do something that they don't know any better for. So unless this is something that the aunt has done a lot, which again doesn't sound like it is because OP's not mentioned that, I don't think that the aunt is an arsehole, and I definitely don't think that you're the arsehole for communicating on the same forum, are thankful for her well wishes, but also politely reminding not to use photos that you personally don't like. Some trans people might be totally fine with photos of themselves pre-transitioning, but not everybody is, and we need to respect that. The arseholes in this scenario are the family that tried to call you an arsehole. Number one, stay in your lane. Number two, you're not the arsehole. It's as simple as that. You made your aunt look bad? Nope, she did it to herself. Truer words could not have been spoken, but you know, it's always easier to throw hurt somewhere else than to keep it at home. Doesn't make it justifiable, but I think that totally explains the reaction that we're seeing here. Absolutely not the arsehole. Your aunt looks bad because she did a bad, hurtful thing. Your birthday is about you, not the construction of you that she has in her head. I totally agree with this, and I feel a bit silly because I actually didn't think of this as being a transphobic thing. I'm assuming that this was a mistake from aunt, which is why I'm saying not the arsehole. But if this was intentionally done, then that is pretty arseholey. And if it was intentionally done, I would absolutely be encouraging OP to make sure that it is publicly said, because that's the only way that she's going to stop such behaviour. Not the arsehole. I'd also not like that at all if someone did that to me. I'm FTM. You didn't make her look bad. She did that to herself. Not the arsehole, and I hope you have a fantastic birthday without family nonsense. Me too, my love. OP, I hope you had a wonderful birthday and that your family learns to simmer down. Alright, am I the arsehole for needing a minute to recoup after my partner accidentally elbowed me in the head? Oh no! If the story is going where I think it's going, this is something that Jamie and I argue about quite often. My partner of almost 3 years asked me to tie their boots because their back was bothering them. I agreed and bent down to tie one. I was quickly told that I wasn't doing it right, and when they bent down to tie their other boot, they yanked their elbow up and it connected with my forehead. Mistakes happen. It happens. I immediately popped up. I said that I needed a minute and I went to sit down. I feel so attacked right now. Why is somebody looking at my life? Why is somebody seeing what me and Jamie are like and written it down in anonymous somebody else's face? They followed me to my chair saying it was an accident and they told me that I wasn't doing it right. They wanted me to kiss them, but again, I said not right now. After I refused a kiss a couple of more times, they got mad, said whatever, stomped out the door and slammed the door. Should I have just acted like it was fine and played it off? There's a couple of edits here. One, my partner and I are women. Okay. And two, we live together, but I'm not going to see them until tomorrow at noon because of work schedules. What can I text them to let them know that A, I don't appreciate how they stormed off, and B, I'm fine. Thank you for not asking. I'm laughing because this is so entirely relatable. Even after this has happened, like accidentally hurting people has happened multiple times, it is still something that Jamie and I argue about. And I want to point out that one, arguing is always healthy because arguing is communicating when your values don't fully align. And communication is amazing, so as long as it's healthy arguing, as long as we're not being toxic, as long as we're not causing each other further unnecessary pain that's not justifiable and not helping to get your point of view across in a truthful manner, then argue, dude, argue. The thing is, to me, is when I see things like this, and when I see this happen, like for me and Jamie, when I'm able to see rationally and not be in my arguing state of mind, isn't this just flipping adorable and show just how much you care for each other? That is my thought process whenever I see these things. I have done this so many times, and Jamie has accidentally done this to me. We're doing a lot of DIY at the moment, and like, things hurt with DIY. My finger got pushed into something and I was like, ow, really, really loud. And Jamie's like, oh my god, let me kiss it. Let me help. And I'm like, just give me some space. I'm in a lot of pain right now. Like, just give me some space. And it is not just Jamie. I have done this so many times too, to Jamie. I think I've done this to my mum a couple times too. And in that moment, of course, people are going to have a negative reaction. It's normal. You've just been hurt. You've just been shocked. You've just had the living poop scared out of you, whatever it is that is happening. You need some time to process that. But then the other person is like, I must correct this mistake. And when you don't allow them to correct that mistake, which is totally understandable, they're like, but now they're blaming me and I feel bad. And again, what do? We deflect because it's easier to put the hurt elsewhere than to hold it at home. Again, doesn't make it right, but it does make us human. So honestly, I'm gonna say no arseholes here. No arseholes here. It's been a while since I've been able to use this badge. I just think this is a moment of growth in a relationship. Personally, I think your partner's feeling really bad because they hurt you and then they were like, no, you're not giving me the capacity to show you that I love you, but they just haven't communicated that in the best way. and I think you too are feeling hurt and are now misreading their signals of personal embarrassment and not wanting to hurt you as further hurt. The only potential red flag that I can see here is this: they wanted me to kiss them, but again I said not right now, and then they tried multiple times. But we do have to remember that consent is a very important thing, even in a healthy, communicating, loving relationship. I have fallen victim to this too, you know, like we all need to remember that sometimes what we think people want is not what they want, and even if we have the best intentions, the best thing to do sometimes is to leave people alone and to respect their boundaries. And especially when you know people so well, it can be difficult sometimes to be like, no, I know you need love, but then not be able to give that love and not feel like that's the best thing to do. But then again, it's important to listen. So, no assholes here. That is my verdict, and I don't personally see this as a red flag, like in this context, but I can definitely see how that could be quite controversial and could end up being a very big red flag if people didn't respect their boundaries often. What can I text them, asks OP? Do you know what my text would be? And I think this is a really defining moment in relationships. In these sorts of situations, it's like, okay, you hurt me. I get it. It wasn't your fault, but it still hurt. And your reaction now is not the most mature thing. I would be texting to be like, hi, I love you. You hurt me, and I know you didn't mean to. I know it was an accident, and I am not mad at you. I'm mad at the pain that came from this mistake, but that has nothing to do with you. I also appreciate that your response afterwards didn't come from a bad place, but it hasn't necessarily made this a little bit easier. Can we just call this a little bit of a relationship doodad? Because, you know, these things happen, and laugh about it and realize that we just both love each other very much and move on and get takeaway tonight, please. That would be my text, with some sort of inappropriate gif, because why not? What about you, Peach? Do you agree? I feel like maybe this could be taken controversially. If you would send a different text, let me know downstairs in the comments section. Let's see what other people had to say. Oh, wow. I think this might be a new most red flags thrown in 3 minutes record for this sub, and that's saying something. 1, demands you help them tie the shoe, immediately tells you you're doing it wrong, proceeds to do it wrong themselves and injure you, perceives that your reasonable recovery period as a personal insult to them, tells you the injury wasn't their fault, demands that you stop recovering to kiss them, takes refusal of kissing on medical grounds as another personal insult, abandons you even though you might need assistance or professional care. Make sure that you know that they're mad about it by slamming the door, not the asshole. Okay, maybe I am being very controversial, but I disagree with this. I disagree with this comment. I feel like there's so many ways to interpret something, and this is just feels like it's been taken way too seriously. Maybe it's one of those you have to be there in the moment to read the actual tone of these things. But like, even the first one, demands that you help them tie their shoe. If you have a partner of 3 years and you live with someone and they've got a bad back and they're like, oh babe, can you help me tie my shoe? I just asked Jamie to bring my laptop upstairs to help me record this video. I could have got my ass downstairs to do that. Somebody could say, oh my god, you demanded that your partner stop what they were doing for their important schedule and inconvenience themselves by bringing you your own electronic device. Like, sure, if you want to read it that way, okay, but that's not what happened. I personally feel like all of this is being read in a very overly dramatic way, and I don't see how this outcome could be taken from the way that OP spoke about it. Do other people agree? Did she not even apologize? He said in the post that she said it was an accident, but accident or not, she still caused harm. Yeah, I see that, and mistakes happen, and just because mistakes happen don't mean that they don't cause hurt. The partner should absolutely have said sorry. I guess I'm assuming that was done in the moment, but to be like, it was an accident, oh, I didn't mean to hurt you, you know, like, I get it. Oh, OP responded and said, she texted an apology after I texted her, I know that you didn't mean to hit me, so I'm not upset at that. I needed a minute to myself to regroup after getting dazed. She said, okay, I'm sorry it happened. It was purely an accident. I needed to get my jeans untucked and I didn't realize how close you were. This is very sweet. This to me demonstrates healthy communication. You had a text exchange. She said sorry. She justified. It happens. Lighten the mood and move on. Not all the time. Like, that's terrible advice for everything. You can't just be like, oh, lighten up and move on. But right here, I feel like this is something that can be lightened so that you can move on. This is something that Jamie and I do often whenever mistakes are made, and then we move on. But then again, I seem to be disagreeing with the forum, so let me know your thoughts. Oh, do we have time for one more? Maybe one more. Am I the asshole for saying no to staying in my room? So I moved home from the city because of work after my parents had downsized into a 2-bed. I paid them £300 a month to live in the room, but this was before it was considered the guest bedroom. Okay, so you're renting a room in your parents' house, basically. My brother and his girlfriend are coming home tomorrow for the weekend, and my mother asked me to sleep in the lounge in a sleeping bag whilst they were home. I said no, and it resulted in an argument, but in my perspective, I pay to rent the room, and they could use what's effectively 2 nights of my rent to buy them an inflatable mattress just for 1 night. Am I in the wrong? Interesting. It's also really jarring to see, am I in the wrong? The question is, am I the asshole? This seems really straightforward, and I'm gonna say no. I do not think that you are the asshole. If you were going back and you were just living there and you weren't paying rent, that's a different matter, because it's a favour that your family's doing for you, even if it's your room, right? I think it's really normal for a family setup to be like, oh, well, you know, like, you have a bedroom, we have guests coming over, you should sleep on the couch whilst they sleep in the room. It's just like the done thing. It is, at least in my family. If you are paying for the room room, that totally changes the dynamics, right? Like, you can't just automatically assume that someone will give up their room when they are paying you for doing that. I think it's perfectly reasonable, family or not, to bring up the fact that you pay for it, and I think it would be perfectly reasonable for you to say that to parents, and for parents to be like, yeah, sure, I mean, like, if we're wanting to do this, you're right, you should have your room rent docked for the amount of days that you're going, or you're right, they can go and stay somewhere else, because it's no longer just a favour. It's no longer that you're just in this room because your parents are being kind after you have moved back. It's a contractual obligation now. They've given you a room because you are paying for it, therefore you are entitled to that space. Not the asshole, you pay for the room, your brother and his girlfriend can sleep in the lounge. I agree. Or, you know, if you want to do that, your parents can knock off your rent a little bit. Not the asshole, it would have been fine if you weren't paying the rent, but since you do pay, the space is no longer theirs. If it's such a concern for them, they can offer their own bedroom to your brother and the girlfriend, but you get to choose what to do with your room. I totally agree with this because you're paying. And OP has added here that they are paying like around same market value for a similar room. Like, it's not like they're getting a super cheap rate because it's family. What they're paying is possibly about £50 to £100 cheaper per month. So you're still paying a really decent amount. Oh, I feel like maybe we went through these relatively quickly. I feel like I was like very strong with my convictions today. What do you think, Peaches? Let me know your thoughts downstairs in the comments section. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know why. Just be kind. You know, we don't need to be a-holes here. We go fishing for them. We don't impersonate them. If you enjoyed this video, do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. And just as a tiny reminder, I'm sorry if you're going to get bored of me plugging this, but just remember that my pre-save link is downstairs in the description box. And I would so appreciate if you wouldn't mind checking it out. Or, you know, checking the song out when it comes out on the 10th of November. Thank you, my loves. Be kind and have a great day. Bye.